Thank you for joining us today for the 4th episode of the Release Notes live stream, this time live from London. All right, let's dive in. To kick us off, let's talk about what Release Notes is all about. If you missed our last episode, this series is your go-to source for all the latest and greatest updates from Figma.
We will do a quick recap of what we have shipped over the past month, and because we cannot host a live stream without a special feature drop, we're of course going to be sharing some new releases live today. There are a lot of new features that we're dropping today. I hear in my non-existent earbuds that we're talking about a record number of them. So if you like this format, let us know in the chat and we'll keep the series going.
My name is Luis Ouriach, and I'm a design advocate here at Figma based in London.
And my name is Alexia Danton. I am also a designer advocate at Figma based in Paris.
Joining us remotely today, we also have product designer Oscar Nillson, who will be helping us with some live demos. All right, Alexia, let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. And kick off maybe with something a little bit fun?
Let's do it.
It's the beginning of April, and in Figma tradition, this means only one thing: it's April Fun Project Time. So going live today and for the rest of our April Fun Week is FigPals. FigPals, you're going to discover them today, are little creatures that you can attach to your cursor or to put at rest on your toolbar so that they can accompany you throughout your workday. Louis, do you want to show us a bit about FigPals?
Let's do it. I'm going to jump into the file and take a look. So I'll open up our toolbar, and you may see in the toolbar at the bottom a brand new little icon. I love it. If I click on this, it'll open up a new panel where I can customize the FigPal to use at my desire. I'm going to activate them. And you can see by default, we have our little animal Flippy. He's going to help me out here today. And I can customize the little thing on the top, maybe change it to a different icon, change the color. I can use a little snake if I want to. And I'm going to save this. And in the toolbar at the bottom, you can see
you're joining the frog gang.
Exactly. Alexia and Oscar's little FigPals in there too. If I click them, they've got a very cute little animation that pops up and down. All right, I'm just going to deactivate these for the rest of the demos and then move on to something else in Figma Design. We've got some brand new updates to share aimed at improving design and development collaboration. Let's jump to the next page. The first thing is we've improved accessibility features inside of Figma. So we know that accessibility is top of mind concern for both developers and designers. Ensuring that you have the right color contrast in your product can make a big impact in how accessible it is. To help with that, we've added new accessibility contrast information to the color picker right on the canvas. And no way to see it, better to see it than to actually take a look. So before, on the left-hand side, this is what our color picker looked like. And now on the right-hand side, you can see there's a little bit more information. Let's go a little bit deeper and take a look at the feature itself. I'm going to zoom in on my text and select my text on the canvas. Scroll down in the properties bar and open the color picker, and you'll see it looks slightly different. Firstly, there's a new icon in the top right-hand side of that picker where I can turn on the color contrast checker. Toggling this on adds a bunch of new things. So firstly, in the top left, it shows me my color ratio and the hex colors that are currently being used in that design. On the right-hand side, it's telling me whether it passes or not that AAA rating. To choose whether I want to pass AAA or AA, I can open up the contrast settings on the right-hand side, as well as choosing large text, normal text, or graphics. Let's change it to AA, and you can see the line in the middle changes its location. Is it AA or AAA? If I move that little dot around, you can see the ratio automatically updates live as we're moving that around, and I can click the AAA to reset it to a color that is more accessible in contrast. That's color contrast. Let's move on a little bit more to the next feature. This one's in dev mode. So I'm actually going to switch over to dev mode. And in the dev mode toolbar, you'll notice there's now an eyedropper. So this eyedropper can sample colors on the canvas to make it easier for your developers to just grab those values when we're building our designs. If I open up the eyedropper and zoom in, you can see there are two values here. This color has been set in HSB format, so I can grab that by sampling it, and I'll get a feedback toast at the bottom. Or I can hold Shift and copy the variable value. So that will be copied to my clipboard too. And one little extra sneak peek on this one is if we've added a code syntax to that variable, that will also be copied to my clipboard. Next up, we're actually going to talk about how to express design intent a little bit better. So for that, I'm going to welcome product designer Oscar Nillson remotely to design our final feature in the design handoff bucket.
All right, thanks, Louis. Excited to be here. So my name is Oscar, and I'm calling in from Sweden to help our London crew here with another demo. So I'm a product designer on the DevTools team here at Figma, and I'm going to show a couple of major upgrades we've made to the annotation features for dev handoff and for creating specs. We launched the annotation feature about a year ago in dev mode. But what we know is that designers also want to annotate while they are designing. So we are really excited to be launching now annotations in design mode. So to show you how that works, we can look at the little toolbar down here, and right next to the comment tool, we have now a little annotation tool and a measurement tool. Yeah, let's try adding an annotation here. So maybe I want to call out that this tab bar here has a special variable attached to it. And just like that, I've added an annotation. And previously, you could only do this from dev mode, but yeah, I think it's just so much smoother to be able to do it from design mode now. So that's really exciting. I can also show the little measurement tool that we have here, of course, and that lets you create little measurements like this in case you haven't tried it before. It's quite nice. If you want to get those pixel perfect designs over to your developers, it can be really useful. Also, a little pro tip, you can actually edit the text here. So maybe I don't want to have 48 pixels here. You can actually edit it and maybe say like 25% of contain or something like that. Maybe you want to be a bit more specific about, the type of size you want to communicate to your developer. Cool. So that's the measurement feature and the annotation feature now available in design mode as well. Oh, I should also say, quite useful, you can turn them off. So maybe you want to focus on designing for a while or like really sort of focus in on something that isn't related to your annotations or your spec. You can turn the annotations off. It's available in the zoom menu up here. You can turn them on and off again. We are also actually going to add a keyboard shortcut that's going to come. So stay tuned for that. But you can toggle it on and off there, and you can also do it from quick actions, of course. So yeah, show annotations. You can turn them on and off. Cool. So annotations are visible to design editors of the file now, and that can be really useful for collaborating on the spec with your design team. And they're still, of course, visible to developers in dev mode. But that's not the only new thing. We are also adding this annotation categories feature. And you might have seen it here already. So if I zoom in a little bit here, I've added some categories to these annotations. So we have annotations about interaction. We have annotations about typography. We have annotations about responsive design. And with this new categories feature, you can add these colored labels to your annotations. And yeah, we just think that makes it much more like easy to like structure and organize your spec and sort of see at a glance what type of information is in your design. Yeah, I think that's really nice. Just when you're sort of creating a bunch of annotations, you want to sort of add some structure to them. And I can also show you how you edit that. So if you go into the annotation editing, you have this little new control up here where you set the category. We have a little preset category, a couple of preset categories here that's sort of built into Figma, but you can also edit categories and create your own and sort of have your perfect sort of custom set of categories for the type of spec that you're trying to create. Yeah, maybe I also want to add this little color category here to this annotation I just created. Yeah, so I think that's just really great when you sort of want to have a bit more structure, a bit more organization in your spec, and I think really helpful for developers as well. Designers might get quite excited adding a lot of annotations. but this makes it a bit easier to like understand like what type of information is available here. But not only that, you can also, if you are in dev mode as a developer, filter annotations. So maybe you want to focus on just the typography details, for example. You can have a little filtering experience from the zoom menu here as well, and select just the type of annotation you want to see. So maybe you just want to see the interaction annotation, for example. Another pro tip, you can also right-click and filter from here. So maybe I want to go back to seeing all categories. Cool. So yeah, those are the two big new features for annotations. They're now in design mode, and we also have annotation categories. We've also done a bunch of smaller improvements as well that I think is really nice. One that personally excites me a lot is that we've changed the scaling and zooming behavior. So if you've used annotations in the past, you might notice that like when you zoom in and out on the canvas, they now get smaller and sort of scale with the design in a way that I think is just much nicer. So overall, a smoother experience. So we really hope you enjoy these new updates to annotations. That's it from my demo. Thank you so much, and back to London and Luis and Alexia.
Thank you so much, Oscar. That was amazing. The zoom thing is the kind of like little detail of craft that we love to see in the product, and we're so lucky to have people like you and the entire design team and the entire development team that are so craft oriented. We're really excited to be dropping annotation categories, especially. We know people wanted this. We're very excited to see how you guys will be using them, customizing them. And hope you're excited. Keep the feedback coming. So far, we've gone through FigPals. We've gone through 3 feature drops so far this episode. Could we possibly have any more?
I've got a feeling we're about to find out.
And you might be right. Get ready, folks. Buckle up. We have 5 more feature drops for you, and 4 of those are coming first off in Figma design. So, first off, we have collapse layers. So, some of you guys might be familiar with that because this workflow existed as a keyboard shortcut before, which was the keyboard shortcut for Option L. I can see it here in my action menu. If I look for collapse layers, you can see the little Option L shortcut preview. Now, this was a personal favorite shortcut of mine. It's really, really handy when you're in the midst of working and you've opened a gazillion layers and you end up lost in all of them and your sidebar just looks like a mess. But if you're not good with shortcuts or you just don't like working with them, what we've done now is we've added a new entry point directly on the layer panels over here, which does the job for you. So what this ends up doing is, for instance, if I go ahead and I just select, let's say I'll select this title, what this is going to do now if I press on collapse layers here, you see here on my layers panel, what it's done is it's collapsed everything on my page except all the layers that this particular selection is nested in. And this allows me to have immediate clarity on where am I on my file and just not be bombarded by just all this mess that I've created for myself. What you can also do is if you don't have anything selected on the page and you can still collapse the layers, you'll see now I have everything collapsed. The icons have disappeared. But what it does is it basically brings it all back to the topmost layer frames or layers that you have existing on your canvas at that time. And we collectively breathe a sigh of relief. It just makes things feel a lot cleaner. And sometimes that's just what you need when you're just deep into focus mode and working on things intensely. So that is for collapse layers. Moving on to another little update that's going to save you guys a click. We call this inline corner radius. What that really means is we're solving for this little paper cut that we had before. I'm going to wait for this to load. There you go. So this video is what was before the new feature went live just now. What you can see here is if you had mixed corner radius, Figma didn't show the preview because you had to open a flyout that then would show the individual values of each 4 corners. And if you wanted to modify things and you have to go back and forth, every time you clicked on that shape, you had to click to reopen that flyout and edit those values again and again. What we've done now, instead of having that flyout version, if I go on my little squircle here, I click that. I'll click on the little 4 corners, individual corners. You can see now this opens inline. So that means that I can go directly in there. I can edit it, for instance, I can make it 80 and 80. And if I leave this shape, you can see it remembers that I wanted this sort of inline view, and I can come back and I don't have to click again to open it again and again and again. So there you go. We've saved you guys a little click here. So we've gotten rid of one flyout. Sometimes you do want to make the flyouts still here, but just easier to access. So another way that we're saving you guys one click, or maybe more than one click in this case, is what we call auto flyouts. Once again, bit of a nerdy name, but basically what it means is we're solving for this little paper cut here. So this should be a pretty familiar workflow to most of you guys working in Figma design, because I think adding a fill is like literally the most used action in all of Figma of all time. What happens is if you added a fill to anything or a effect like a drop shadow or even a layout grid, if you wanted to edit anything apart from like the default setting, you would have to go in manually and click to open the setting of the fill or the effect or the layout grid you've just added, right? This is a very quick video, but basically there is an extra click. Now what we've done is just once again resolving paper cut and improving quality of life for everyone is if I go in here and I add a fill, Figma is automatically going to open that flyover for you guys so that you can go in and edit exactly the value in details. Same thing if I add an effect. Right now, the pop-up, the flyouts with all the different effect details will appear automatically without me having to click an extra time. I can go ahead and change the x-axis, the y-axis, the blur, etc. And it works the same with layout grids, of course. So that is a couple little paper cuts that we're solving. Now, next little update. I'm very excited about that one. It's been a highly requested feature for everyone working with variables. You can now reorder modes and collections without deleting or breaking any dependencies. Clap. Very excited about that one. What that looks like essentially is since just now, if I go into my little variable table here, I'm going to make this a little bit, there we go, a bit smaller just so we can see. I'm also going to, there we go, just make my canvas a little bit cleaner for you guys. So I have a screen here. Right now, it's all connected to this collection. And this collection has 3 different themes, brand 1, brand 2, and brand 3. Before, if I wanted to make brand 2 the default brand, because I've added it belatedly, and I actually just want to reshuffle how my design system works, I would have to essentially either create a whole new collection, or I would have to delete things and create them again, and it would break everything. What you can do now is, magic, magic, drum roll, I can just select, and I can drag it. Woo! And then you can see, because right now the design I have to my left is set as defaults on the default collection. The default mode is changing, which means that the design itself is live updating. Now, the other thing this changes is the consumption experience, right? Because as I said, right now this is set to default. But what I could have done is actually set this manually to specific mode I want. Specific mode, yes. And you can see now, because I've made brand 2 the default mode, this is now my first column in my variables collection, it's now showing up at the top. So this is also how you can create the consumption experience for all the people using your design system by manually reordering the modes in your collections. But I also mentioned that we have the ability now to reorder collections, so we're going to have a quick look at that. If I open up, I'm going to go back in here. These are all my collections right now, and the collection I'm using in my design is called Trivet Brands. Right now it's at the bottom. And what I would like it to do is I would really, because it's at the bottom, if I have a file that's consuming all of these variables, if someone tries to like find a color in there, they're basically going to scroll through all the different variables in those other collections before they get to the one in my final collection. I don't want that to happen. I want this to be a bit higher up and a bit more visible for people. So what I can do now, I can go in here, reorder collections, and you can see I have a new little menu that appears. I can grab this, bring it upwards, move it to third position, and now this is going to be consumed much higher level when I try to feed those variables to my designers. So yeah, very excited about that. We hope you're equally excited about it too. Your design system modes and collections can now stay structured, flexible, and fully in your control as your brand and your products evolve for time. This one, just for notes, is rolling out slowly throughout the day today. So if you do not see it yet, do not panic. For all the other features we're showing you, you can just refresh your Figma and it should be in there. But this one is just rolling out slowly. It should be available to everyone by tomorrow. So there you go. That's it for our new drops in Figma design. Luis, back to you. I hear that Slides had a really big launch recently.
Indeed, it did. Figma Slides is now out of beta and included on all seats. And we released a lot of powerful updates to make the Slides experience even better. First, we added code blocks into slides to make formatting a breeze. Just paste code into slides, and it will format and highlight the syntax automatically. You can then use the settings in the right sidebar to select a language for the code block syntax highlighting and change the code block's color theme. Next, one of our most requested updates, the ability to import and export PPTX files into Figma slides. Now, videos in Figma slides will play when you're in the editor, not just in present mode. Plus, we've added video playback controls so you can scrub and pause as well. And then this one is a personal favorite. You can now create components in Figma slides to keep content consistent across all your slide decks. You can now also animate specific objects on your slides. You can choose whether they slide or fade, the animation speed, and more, so your presentations are truly customizable. And finally, you can now add slide numbers to your slides, so you always know where you are in a presentation. All of these updates went live with our general availability launch of Figma slides, so are available for you to use in your slide decks today. And that's it for slides. Back to you, Alexia.
Thank you, Louis. I am going to take over the screen share. There you go. We have a quick lightning round as well now. Exciting updates coming through. We're almost through. Thanks for hanging on. So the first thing that we have up is another live drop. This is the last one of the day. It's a pack of new cloud architecture icons in FigJam. If you've ever made or seen diagrams of cloud architecture, you know how specific and accurate and nitty-gritty these visuals need to be, which is why today we're adding the full icon sets from AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, and Kubernetes to the Shapes Picker in FigJam. So now your cloud architects and platform engineers can find the exact icons that they need to visualize their infrastructure, all within FigJam. Next, we've enhanced the Figma file browser with refreshed file cards and updated designs for creating files. So this is just about bringing a more cohesive experience overall. The file types are instantly recognizable, which is making it faster and easier for you guys to find what you're looking for. Next up, we've got a fun little one. This is a mix of delight and craft, to be honest. And as I said, it's the kind of nitty, geeky details that we really love at Figma. We're introducing a brand new Shimmer effect for AI-generated nodes when you're using the Add Interactions command. This is a subtle animation that's going to help you instantly recognize which connections were created by AI versus the one that you had added manually. It's a small touch, but it was going to make navigating your prototype a bit smoother. And you may have missed the small update when it went out, but it's a pretty solid one. So Figma will now automatically turn certain character combinations into smart symbols for every single font, not just the ones that natively support this. So no more copy and pasting that copyright symbol from the internet or having to deal with really ugly broken arrows or just kind of replacing everything with emojis. You just need to make sure that you enable use smart quotes and symbol, the option in your preferences. And this is going to work, as I said, on any font, not just in Figma Design, but also in FigJam and Figma Slides. So let us know in the chat if we've missed any other smart symbols you would want this to work for, and we'll make sure to add it in. And last one. This is a reminder for anyone still using Figma's old UI, which is what we call UI 2, that the last day to transition to our new UI that we released last year, what we called Figma UI 3, is going to be April 30th. So the team has been iterating on UI 3 based on user feedback, with a few more updates coming your way on April 30th. Plus, everything that we're going to launch at Config in May is going to be in UI 3. So please make sure that you make the switch now if you haven't already. And if you'd like to explore the behind the scenes of UI 3, we've also added the UI 3 design system file to the Figma community for you guys to download, and you can explore all of its components and all of its variables and how our team has set those up. And finally, I believe we had one more update go out last week, didn't we, Louis?
I think you're right. If only there was a person, someone who could tell us about this.
Hablas español, Figma? Hi all, Hugo on the Designer Advocate team here, and I'm really excited to tell you about our recent launch of Figma in Spanish. You can now use Figma's UI completely in Spanish. To do this, go down to the Help and Resources menu in the bottom right-hand corner to change your language to Spanish, and that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hugo.
We're so excited to keep expanding all of Figma's products to more people around the globe, which is something very dear to us. I wonder which languages will be next.
We're just going to have to wait to see and find out.
Adios.
More coming
Adios.
soon.
All right, that's all the newness for today and for the past month. If you have a favorite feature that we dropped, let's hear it in the chat. Let's do a quick recap of everything we've gone over so far together.
First, we launched FigPals. This is April Fun Day update. checked its pals out in Figma, FigJam, and Figma Slides. Then we launched updates to the accessibility contrast information, annotation categories in Figma Design, plus we added the eyedropper to the toolbar in dev mode.
Then we dropped collapse layers, inline corner radiuses controls, as well as automatic flyouts for effects, fill, and layout grids, plus reorder modes and collections for variables.
We rounded it out with everything that went live with our GA of Figma Slides, code blocks in Slides, PPTX import-export, video improvements in Slides, components in Slides, object-level animations, and slide numbers.
Loads of slide stuff. And lastly, our lightning round. We talked about third-party shapes coming into FigJam. We talked about some visual updates in the file browser, arrival of smart symbols in every single font, as well as our upcoming transition from UI2 to UI3, and of course, Figma and español.
And of course, if you haven't registered for Config Virtual yet, don't forget to do that. Scan this QR code to sign up, or we'll drop the registration link in the chat. Thank you for hanging with us today. Thank you to everyone at Figma for making the platform better every day. I would like to give a big shout out to my co-host presenter, Alexia, and our guest demoers, Oscar and Hugo. Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Louis. We covered a lot of ground today. Thank you all for joining us. We're ever so grateful for your time. And if you like this live stream, let us know in the survey. We'll host more of these. In the meantime, we'll see you for our next live feature drop at Config. And for those of you live, if you ever want to know more about our products, check out the question below. And with this, bye.
See ya.